Cochran. What's up, brother?
Not much.
Dude, you're the OG of like here. You and Leanne, your last ones.
Yeah.
That's sick.
I know. The last man standing.
I know. Hopefully, we don't want to lose you because you got big things popping off everywhere. So
yeah.
I'll
be sticking around.
We'll have to get into that. Like your everything you do. You know, it's just you got a lot of cool stuff going on, and
yeah,
super thankful to have you here, and then also working with us and being with us and taking care of everything here.
Yeah.
Making sure that everything works right, and we got it all going. So,
yeah.
just give us a little background of yourself, and I guess we'll just start with like your health and wellness journey. Like, what did that look like when you were growing up? What did that look like when you were in school and now, or and where do you anything?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I never really like prioritized my health and wellness growing up. Ate out a lot as a family. You know, my dad, he worked in the oil field, so. My mom was kind of like a single mom half the time. It was 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off schedule. But yeah, even after high school, I wasn't living like the best life. I didn't really like go to the gym that often, eating out all the time. But moving here to Pennsylvania and being around my little brother.
When did you move here?
I moved here 2 years ago. So I'm going on my third year here.
We're like, it was about the same time that we got here then. We got here in late 2022. Right?
Okay.
October 2022. Is that right? Yeah.
Huh. Right on. Yeah. But yeah, moving here and being around the wrestlers are very, very much about their health and wellness. And having that example, it kind of got me going on it.
Yeah, just like who are the 6 people you surround yourself with?
Right. Exactly.
That kind of idea.
Yeah.
That's such a cool concept. I forget where that concept comes from, but it's such a cool concept. Like just to, you want to put yourself in, we want to be the dumbest person in the room, ideally,
right.
You know,
yeah.
and I try to do that a lot. Like, okay, how can I surround myself with great people who just know how to do things and will figure it out, whether it be in wrestling or business or anything. And then for you, for health and wellness, that's really cool too.
Yeah. Yeah. And then about a year later, I had the opportunity to work at Vitality Wellness, and that just took it to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Getting in the sauna and cold plunge, that makes you feel like Superman.
Yeah.
Red light.
What's funny because nobody really has access to sauna cold plunge.
Mm-mm.
Like you can kind of find it. Like you can find an old grungy one.
Yeah.
You know, people are like, oh, I just take a hot shower and then I turn it to cold and take a cold shower. And it's
right.
like, okay, I get it. You know, it's not quite the same.
No.
You know, but so like for wrestlers, we're just so spoiled. You know, we always have a sauna. And it's just like a part of our lifestyle a little bit. So like you work out and you hop in the sauna. And then on your off day, you hop in the cold plunge. Or, you know, before workouts, you get in the cold plunge or after too.
Yeah.
So yeah, like if there's not access to it. And that's what we found out here, kind of that starting point, like not having access. So you have access to it now.
Yeah.
And you're just a cold plunging maniac. Have you done the 6-minute challenge yet?
I'm trying to remember.
39 degrees.
I think I did it when I first got here, but it wasn't 39 degrees. It was like 45.
Yeah.
So
we got to get you in the 39 degree.
But
yeah,
I
haven't done it. I'm too much of a wuss. Yeah, I'm not doing it. I feel like I probably should do it just to say, you know, like, yeah, I'm in the club.
Yeah, you got to.
Someone's got to do it. We'll definitely make Will Price do it. He's
for sure
behind the cameras right now. He's going to have to do it. He's just smiling over there.
Yeah.
So sauna cold plunge, was that like your first experience with it here, or did you like have used it before, but just like not consistent?
I've done just like the trough with a bunch of ice in the back.
Gotcha.
And then
garbage can.
Yeah. Last year before I started working here, I had one of those just portable ones,
Okay.
but it was during the winter. And so I didn't have to have a chiller.
Gotcha.
I just cracked the ice off the top and got in there,
Yeah.
which I got addicted to it. I did it every single morning. I loved it. I couldn't go a day without it.
Really?
Wow.
Wow.
But like getting in the summer, you can't really.
It's not the same.
You gotta get a chiller. So
now we have a couple chillers here that you can use, which is nice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then so when you do your cold plunge, like are you a purist where you're just like, I'm just gonna cold plunge this session? Are you gonna go back and forth, or do you change sometimes? Like will you go sauna cold, or just sauna, or just cold, depending on the day?
Depends on how much time I have. Sometimes if I just want a good mental boost, then I'll just get in the cold plunge.
Yeah.
I feel like it's much harder just to get straight in the cold plunge after than getting in the sauna and then cold plunge. But I'm not one to go back and forth.
Okay.
I don't know. I just do like a 20-minute sauna and then get in the cold plunge and then I'm done.
Yeah. Do you dunk? Do you
Of
go all the way?
course, of course. Yeah, last 30 seconds is a head dunk.
There's like last 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I do first 10 seconds. So I'm
Really?
like, I'm in. I'm
Okay.
going in, and then I get out, and then I'm like, my head's warming up, so I don't feel as terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I keep my hands and my toes out. They have like those little gloves that you can get, and the like toe socks that like are supposed to keep you warm.
Yeah. Throw a beanie on.
Yeah, throw a beanie on. I can't. I shouldn't do that. No, I won't do that. I was thinking about it though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like cold plunge. So you've noticed like some mental clarity, things like that. Like what has been like the biggest change, like the biggest thing that you've noticed over time? Like instantly we know what like a cold plunge does.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, you're just gonna be really cold, shivering. You're gonna have the restriction of blood cells. All your blood's gonna move to your organs, out from your fingers and toes. Like, have you noticed anything like long term, other than you just getting used to it? Like you're just like, oh, now I enjoy it. I'm addicted to it, like you're saying. But have you noticed anything else?
Definitely my sleep. I don't know, because I mix red light in with the whole process, and I know red light's really good for your sleep too.
Yeah.
But probably like stressful situations, I feel like I'm much calmer in those moments.
Gotcha.
And I know cold plunge is really good for that, because it's triggering that same stress hormone that you get in stressful situations. So,
man, maybe I should get my kids to cold plunge more.
right.
They're only 5 months and 3 and 4 and 6. So do you think they,
get them started early?
They would probably do it. Emmy definitely would do it. Ella Jo, she might be a little less likely to do it.
Yeah.
Leo, he won't do it.
I feel like Leo would just get right in.
No.
He seems like
he would, they love the cocoon tub. That's what
I'm sure
they do here.
I do love the cocoon tub.
It's so nice. It's so nice. One of the things with cold plunge that I've learned recently, not recently, I've known it for a little while, but just like cold thermogenesis and like what that does for your energy production, and how it just helps your mitochondria be more efficient. So the combination of what you're saying, red light plus cold plunge, it'll help your energy production, but it also helps set your circadian rhythm, because, you know, light is the number one thing for your circadian rhythm, but then so is temperature.
Yeah.
So like your light dark cycles are really important for your sleep, but also your temperature. So that's why people will, you know, get cold at night or leave a window open in the winter, and just try to keep their room cool. Some people have like chillers that will literally lay on top of.
Oh yeah, Lucas has one of those.
Called. Oh, does he?
Chili pad.
Oh, chili pad. Yeah. So, but yeah, everyone has like, you know, little things to like help that, and it's good. I mean, that's really good for your sleep. And, some people like really track. Like, do you track your sleep at all?
No. I know.
I hate wearing that stuff.
Yeah.
Like any of those things, I don't know, for whatever reason I don't want to wear it. I know like the Aura Ring, you can like turn on airplane mode. It'll collect your data, but it won't like transmit it back and forth. But it has like a little light on there, and if light is the most important thing, then I remember back in 2015, spring of 2015, I think. I was helping out Jake Herbert. He was a national champion from Northwestern. He was an Olympian. And I went out to Ann Arbor where he was training and just stayed at his place. And they were all talking about like how a little prick of green light on the back of your leg or back of your knee can disrupt your melatonin release and production. So I was like, man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, because during the day you produce melatonin, and then at night you release it. So that's why it's like that wave, like you build it up and then at night you release it. And it's the inverse for cortisol. So like cortisol during the nighttime, you create it, but then you release it starting at whatever time in the morning. I forget what time it is in the morning. But that can all be disrupted just with a little tiny bit of light.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, if I'm going to wear a ring that is emitting light, why would I do that? It doesn't really make sense.
Just going to disrupt yourself.
And I'm sure everyone has their own opinion on it and things like that. But my room has like electrical tape over all the lights, and there's no power to my room, and it's all grounded. So I'm like, doing my best to keep it there. And maybe it's working. Maybe it's placebo. Maybe it's not. But
I don't know. I don't think so, because I did the same thing. Yeah. I did a full deep dive in my room and taped all the lights, got blackout curtains, and I feel like I sleep like a baby.
Yeah.
So I think it works.
It definitely works. I have a Faraday cage that's a tent. So essentially what it does is it blocks any sort of signal from coming in. The only thing it doesn't do, and it literally pops out and you have to like fold it a special way. It's kind of annoying. So I spend like 20 minutes trying to fold it back up because it's all one piece and it just pops out. But there's not a ton of airflow that gets in there because it's like really, it's like tight knit silver in the cloth, so it blocks out any like radio frequencies, AM, FM, like any of that stuff. Like you can't bring your phone in there; it's all gone. Like as soon as you have to zip it up, nothing's getting in or out.
Wow.
And then you plug it into the grounding port of the house, of the like just a standard outlet. So you're like fully grounded in it, and you like get to block all that stuff.
Wow, that's
so
crazy.
Like, and what I notice is just my dreams are different.
Really?
And so like when I sleep in there, and it could be, maybe there's not enough airflow, so I'm not getting enough oxygen. Maybe I'm getting too hot, but my dreams are definitely different. If I sleep in my room, like at home where I have everything perfect, or I go to a hotel and I sleep without the tent or sleep with the tent. It's kind of crazy.
Okay. That is wild.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that you can do. And some of it is like really like beneficial. Some of it's just like placebo, but like the whole goal for me is like, even if it is placebo, it's having an impact, and I'm just going to keep doing it. And if there is a potential possibility, like I want placebo and potential possibility all flowing in the same direction,
right?
So just like with any modality, like if you believe it's going to work, it's probably going to work a little bit better for you.
Yeah.
So even if it's like double blind, placebo controlled, like those studies, yes, those are really important, but the power of belief is also really important too. It's shown that it's really powerful.
Yeah.
So,
your mind is a very powerful thing. So
if you think that the cold plunge is going to help you, it's going to help you, and at least for the most part, everyone's a little bit different, especially male to female. Like, women who cold plunge a lot, like they're not having the same benefit as men do. So there's actually just a pretty big difference between men and women in terms of what they should do for cold plunging.
Okay.
That's just like some of the science that's been shown to come out. So
what's like some of the stuff for
because
women?
of just the hormone differences in men and women. So like, and I'm no expert here. I just know that you just have to be careful with all of that. There's a few people that I just like follow, who were just like really good at that. And I remember when I first got into it, like Wim Hof was like going off. Like everyone wanted to do what Wim Hof did. That dude would like swim in the Arctic Ocean and like hike to the top of it. I don't know if he actually hiked to the top of Everest without a shirt on or something, but like something crazy.
Barefoot. I think it was.
Barefoot.
Yeah.
I used to walk barefoot to school in the snow, uphill, both ways, 20 miles, both ways. Grandpa's
That's what they all say.
But yeah, so I just know that there's certain things that men can do that are more beneficial. So like men can just be in the cold. Like women have more body fat, so you would think that they could be in the cold more and longer, and they probably can. And it's obviously each individual is a little bit different and what they can handle, but it's not necessarily great for women's hormones, because a lot of the studies that are done on men. So a lot of the studies on cold thermogenesis and things like that are done on men. So a lot of the research that's out there is for men, and you hear like anecdotal evidence of women who are like, oh yeah, I used to cold plunge every single day, and they were just overdoing it. They were doing like 10-minute cold plunges every single day, and it's like, that's way too much. And you gotta be way less. I think now it's like between 10 and 15 minutes per week is kind of, after that you start getting diminishing returns. But yeah, so tell me more about like your clothing stuff. I want to know about that. Like, it's a wellness podcast, but clothing is really cool. You make some sweet sweatshirts, and I see some guys rocking them. I've asked for some Vitality ones, but you're just so busy.
Yeah. It's hard to get a hoodie.
Going. But we'll get there one day.
Yeah.
Tell me about it. What's going on? How did that start?
I don't know. I moved out here and I didn't really know what to do. And I just kind of started. I've always really been into fashion. I love throwing on a cool fit. And so
Me too. I have a linen shirt on right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed.
That's fresh.
It's pretty old.
I'm very jealous of it.
It's like, I think I thrifted it.
Yeah, I feel like
I've worn this one probably in the summer. I probably wear this every other day.
Yeah.
Sometimes it gets washed, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, it's okay.
Just
kidding.
It's linen. Anyway, so you just been into fashion.
Didn't really know what I was going to do here. There weren't very many jobs.
Yeah.
So I just started posting TikToks, and I kind of at the time wanted to be like a TikTok influencer, just like a fashion influencer. I would love brands to like send me their clothes and me style them. When I like posting those videos and trying to stand out, I would kind of like modify my clothes, and I got a lot of attention from that. And I had a lot of people I didn't even know, reach out to me and say, "Hey, can you make me some clothes?" Yeah. And so, I just started making clothes for people, and then I fell in love with that. And so I started making videos of that, and then I started just kind of doing that full time.
Yeah.
And then that kind of like led me into YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought at the time I wanted a clothing brand because I thought that was the only way to do what I love and make money.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of just want to pursue YouTube and just like show people how I make my clothes. And I don't really want a clothing brand anymore.
Yeah.
So
it's funny. I feel like everybody coming out of like college, like, oh yeah, I just need to make my own shirts, and you know, it's gonna be super easy. And it's like they buy like a standard unisex shirt, and it just like it's a box, and you're like, what am I?
Yeah, like what's the creative?
Yeah, like where's
thing
that
here? You know?
And I remember doing that. I'm like, oh yeah, we can make some really cool shirts and doing this, and I'm like, I have no idea anything about this. I don't even know how to sew. Like, what am I doing? You know, like I'm not. This isn't me. And there's other people who like dedicate their life to doing it, you know. And I know you sew, and you'll make some pretty cool cuts, and we'll have to show some people in the podcast. We'll cut some of your stuff in here.
Yeah,
but,
sure.
Yeah, I think it's really cool that, you know, really if and this is what I remember as my coach used to say, it doesn't matter what you do. If you're the best at it, people are going to notice. Yeah. So whether you're the best wrestler, whether you're the best plumber, whether you're the best sewer, what doesn't matter. If you're the best in the world at it, if you're pursuing greatness in it, people are going to notice, and you're going to be able to sustain yourself off of that. Yeah. So I was like, okay, if I can be the best wrestler I can possibly be, you know, I'm going to be able to take care of myself and my family, and anything that I want to do, I'll be able to travel the world. It's kind of like my thought process, and I'm kind of living that out. Yeah. And it's pretty cool to be able to do that. So I would definitely encourage you to just like keep, you know, whatever you're passionate about, just keep going out, because you never know, like, you know, you could have one YouTube video that all of a sudden just goes nuclear, and you have, you know, a million subscribers.
That's the hope.
Yeah. So
like you just keep doing it, eventually it'll happen. Yeah. And that's the plan. So
yeah, just keep making cool stuff, you know, like people want to see behind the scenes, you know, and they're like, wow, what is this guy doing? What's his process like? Let me get in his mind. Like, what is he thinking about? Because there could be, you know, some kids who are like, yeah, I would like to do the same thing, but how do I do it? Right. You know, and I remember that my wife's grandmother, she used to just like sew all day. And it was for her church, and she would make like, you know, just cotton things for people, and their church would send it overseas to people who, you know, were in need and that sort of thing. And it was just really cool that she was just spending all of her time. Like, she would be home for Christmas, and I'd go over, and she'd just be sewing, just like nonstop, and she'd just be going and going and going and going and going. I'm like, dude, you are unrelenting. She's like, just this is what I like to do.
It's fun. It's relaxing, just sitting at the sewing machine and getting in the flow state, going for it. Yeah. I could see that.
Instead of me just like doom scrolling on my phone, I'm just like, oh, what am I doing? Like this, I just wasted 2 hours. What am I doing here?
It sucks you in.
Oh, it really does. The worst. Yeah. And we were talking about it earlier. Like 2 seconds, you know, is like all you need to suck somebody in. Yeah, and you're like, whoa. Like once you start to feel it, like it's that little dopamine hit that you get, and it's just like that slow hit, boom, 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 boom. And there's a bunch of good books on dopamine and like the reward system that goes on. Yeah. And you know, you have like this longer reward system, like you're talking about getting in the flow state, but then you have this like short dopamine circuit that you're just like, I need more, I need more, I need more, I need more, I need more. And it's just not sustaining, you know, it's just like there's no like substance to it, like where you feel like you're getting better, you know?
Yeah, after I get done with a good day down in the studio of just like working hard and getting in the zone, that feels so much better than just sitting on my phone and scrolling and getting dopamine from that. Yeah, it's so much, like you said, more sustaining.
A lot of it too is just like connecting your like physical movement, like whether it be, you know, you're going out for a walk in nature or, you know, whatever, with your mental dopamine. So like a lot of it is like your anticipation of something happening. So like if, you know, you're anticipating, you're like, oh man, we're going to go on this awesome ski trip. Like most of the fun is just like planning the ski trip. Yeah. You know, or I'm going to go, you know, we're going to go to a football game, like the planning for that trip. Like the game is only 48 minutes, you know, it's like not, or, you know, whatever, 60 minutes. It's not going to be like this super long adventure, but it's all the build up leading up to it. Yeah. So like people coming to Penn State to watch Penn State football is a big deal for so many people, because it's not just then. it's the whole summer where everyone's like, we got a chance this year.
Yeah.
Then it's like the first game's coming up. We got to get up there on Thursday so we can set up the camper and do this and do that and tailgate and this, and then afterwards. And it's just like this whole event that they're building up in their head. And that is something meaningful for them, you know?
It's funner than the actual day.
Yeah. And same with wrestling. Like, I just get so excited to like the build up, like it was the build up to the US Open and the build up to the trials. Now the build up to Final X is like, all right, what is going on here? Like, how can I improve and what can I do to be better than I was the last time I was out there? And it's that constant, you know, we call it like infinite beta. Like, how can you continue to get better every single time you go out there?
Yep.
And, you know, for me, like, I'm older now, you know, I'm 34 years old and like still competing with these young kids. Like, there's high school kids that are coming to Penn State that are wrestling in Final X that are going,
It's
insane, you know? And there's always been really good kids, but it's just like, you looking at these new kids, they've been watching YouTube. They've been watching these huge events forever, and they're super creative, and they're wrestling year round. And it's like, they have stuff that's like really cool.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, well, they hit some pretty, you know, they're really creative in their setups or, you know, in their attack rate or how they're defending and these sorts of things. So you always got to like stay up with the times a little bit.
It's probably much easier for those kids to learn too.
Oh, yeah.
With like Instagram and YouTube, it's just all out there.
Yeah, I mean, I had dial-up when I was trying to watch, you know, old Cale Sanderson, John Smith videos. I'm like waiting for it to load. I'm like, Dad, get off the phone! Like, I need to watch this. And, you know, it's just like, it's funny how times have changed.
Yeah. I'm lucky I never had to deal with that.
Yeah, no dial-up. But yeah, it was really cool because and even me, like, I was on you know, I would still wrestle and I was wrestling, you know, in the off season as well. But I felt like my generation was like that first generation to have the internet to like look at, you know, have access to a lot more videos and a lot more content and a lot more like big tournaments and like people like trying to promote the sport. And now it's just growing even more.
Yeah.
And especially with women's wrestling, like growing so fast the way it is with these new professional leagues people are trying to start with social media and like these huge personalities that are getting built.
Yeah.
Like, personalities are what's going to drive the sport, you know, and then also with just the way sport is changing with media, with TV, with everything. It's becoming pretty cool to see. I mean, we have not just wrestlers, but other athletes as well that come down to Vitality and are just like, yeah, I got to go do this photo shoot and I got to be here. And
they're like celebrities.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. It's cool, but it's also like you see the process behind getting there. Like, how do you get there? And when I was a kid, it was just like, I'm just going to outwork everybody. And then I got really lucky not getting injured. And then all of a sudden I got injured a bunch. I'm like, whoa, I need to fix something, you know?
Yeah.
And some people need that. Like, I needed that. Like, I needed a punch in the mouth to be like, dude, you are eating Doritos and Mountain Dew and sugar cookies and not sleeping and like doing this. You need to fix this.
Yeah.
And here's how you're going to fix it. Injury, surgery, injury. And I'm like, okay, this is enough. I'm done with this, you know? So, and I've said it before a bunch of times. Like, I was considering retiring in 2016. I was like, man, I'm done. You
really?
know, like this surgery, if I can't come back from this, I'm going to be done. And just put my head down and started like figuring things out and how the body's supposed to work, how it's supposed to move, what is the proper fuel for the body, how can I upgrade my engines inside my body, and all of those little things. And that's kind of how this was born, you know, like this vision of what Vitality Wellness Club, you know, it was just like a place for me to come. You know, it was a place for me to have all of my different tools that I was going to use during the week so that I could go perform my best on the weekend or in the biggest stages and events like that. So, that's really how it all started. And
that's cool.
Yeah, it is cool. It is cool. And it wasn't just me, you know, like different stories, you know, with David Taylor, he was, you know, the founder of it with me.
Yeah.
And I moved down here to start this with him. And then he had an awesome opportunity to go somewhere else. And now this is like my whole thing. Like, wellness is Vitality Wellness Club, and wellness is like, how can I give back to people? How can I teach them like, hey, don't make the same mistakes I did. Because I made a lot of them. And, you know, I'm still making mistakes and we can't be afraid to make mistakes. But we should be afraid of not trying and putting our best foot forward. Maybe it is you have to come in and get compression so that you know, maybe it is you have to get red light so you can sleep better, so you can perform better, so you can go, you know, do whatever you set out to do.
Yeah.
And really with us, like, you know, and I just want to help my staff. Like if you're like, hey, I want to go accomplish this, I'm like, good, get whatever you need right now. Like get in the cocoon tub, get in the hyperbaric, get in the whatever it is, and make yourself ready to go take on that task, climb that mountain, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And
I remember I hurt my LCL last year skiing, and I was telling Leanne about it, and she was like, get in the hyperbaric, get in the hyperbaric.
Yeah.
And I got in it, sure enough. I mean, my knee's perfectly fine now.
That's awesome.
It's what the technology that's down here is insane. It will make you superhuman.
Yeah.
And fix you.
And that's the goal. I mean, we just get crushed every single day with so many like pollutants and toxins and all these things. And we don't treat ourselves right and we don't do it. But like, I don't want it to be symptoms. Like I don't want to just like pop a pill and like, okay, I have pain in my shoulder. I'm just going to take something. I have this headache. I'm going to take something. I have, this tingling in my fingers. I'm going to take something. I can't really hear. I'm going to take something, so I want to help people get back to the core of, who they are. What does it mean to be a human? And these are just tools to help you like see it, like you have this baseline where you're like, I'm 100%, but really you're only 50% of your capacity.
Yeah.
So if you're 100% of 50, like you're like, oh yeah, I feel great. But then all of a sudden I show you that there's another 50% after that. You're like, oh, wait, I'm not operating at my best.
Yeah, I've taken, I don't know, is it the blue or the red pill in the Matrix? But I have taken one of those pills and I can't go back now. I can't go more than 2 or 3 days without doing a cold plunge because my brain is just slow. Yeah. It's just,
wake up.
You don't realize your potential.
Yeah.
So
and so just being able to bring it all here and bring it under one roof and make it accessible to a ton of people and really it's like, hey, how can I help you? How can I serve the community? And the best thing that I can do is like make you better at what you do. Yeah. Whether you're a stay-at-home mom, a college professor, or you're trying to be the best athlete you can be, or whatever. I want you to be the best version of yourself right there. Yeah. If I can help you be the best version of yourself every single day by you coming down for a 6-minute cold plunge or 20-minute sauna, 15-minute red light, or a combination of all of it, then I'm happy.
Yeah, it feels great. I mean, there have been people who have come in here that have been in some bad situations or have like looked rough, and it feels good being able to be like, use this. And I can't imagine how you feel being able to provide this place, but yeah, it's just cool getting people with cancer in the hyperbaric, or there's some dudes, I won't name any names, but they just like have lost a ton of weight, and then they're doing the sauna and cold plunge every single day. Yeah, it's cool to see that this place is really helping people. And
it's cool for you too, because you're here and you see those people and you see those changes over real time. I pop down all the time and I'm just like, seeing it. I'm like, oh, hey, how's it going? How's it been? How's so-and-so doing? And yada, yada. But you guys are here like chit-chatting with them when they come in and then when they leave and if they need anything, and they're just like opening up and, you're just really getting to meet a lot of cool people.
Getting to know them. It's cool.
Yeah. And that's another piece of like just the community aspect. Like we don't want you to just have like a transaction here. Like we don't want it to be like, you don't see somebody at the front desk, you just hit a fob and then all of a sudden you're in and you don't talk to anybody and you're just like in the zone. And sometimes that's what you need, but that's for us to read, you're going to see if someone needs to be in the zone. You're just gonna be like, all right, yep. Good luck.
Yep.
Otherwise people are like, hey, so how's your day? Want to just chop it up. And all of a sudden it's 20 minutes later and you're like, hey, you got to get in your red light because we got someone else coming in.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Some people just love to come down here and talk. It's honestly like a community down here. It's cool. Yeah.
And we're trying to build it more, obviously. We want as many people as we can down here. We want to be so packed that we, need more locations and to open up different places and stuff like that. And it's funny because now in the summer, and this is like pretty cool because the students are gone. And, there's plenty of parking. We're open at 6 a.m. now. So our hours now, like there's free parking on the street. You can come down. Nobody's down here. There's no students. You can come down and we have 5-6 people that usually come down first thing in the morning.
Yep, some regulars.
To get their regular stuff in, and then throughout the day, people coming in and things like that. And but yeah, just like we have access now for those early risers that we didn't have before. Yeah, and that's going to be like as we get through the summer, allowing more locals to come down. One thing that I learned is that they don't like to be called townies.
Okay. Up
in Ithaca, New York, we were called townies. So I was a townie forever, and it wasn't I didn't care. That's what I was. I was a townie. And the reason we were called townies was in line of rink, which is the hockey team. There's one side for students and one side for townies. And at the end of the game, the students are yelling across the ice to the townies, and they say, "Townies up, townies up," and then all the townies stand up and they're all like do a chant and cheer and blah blah blah.
That's
blah.
cool.
Yeah, it's pretty
I
cool.
like that.
Line of rink is crazy. It's a cool place.
I bet.
It's just like an old. I mean, it is so loud in there when the hockey team is good and they're pumping. Like when I was in school, it was fun to go to those games. Yeah, but so anyway, so yeah, local. They like to be called locals here, not townies. That's apparently a derogatory term. So I am sorry if I ever called anybody in State College, PA, a townie.
That's good to know because I don't want to mix anything up here.
Gosh, it's crazy, but yeah. So what else you got going on? What you got? Anything else that you want to talk about in terms of like your health journey, like anything? You already talked about your LCL and the hyperbaric. So here's one thing: if you had to choose between hyperbaric and cocoon, and you could only do one, which one would you choose?
Probably hyperbaric.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
As relaxing as the cocoon tub is, it's just you got to get in the swimming suit, you got to get wet, you got to dry off. It's just the hyperbaric is much easier to get in and out of, and just how I feel after the hyperbaric is just so calm and relaxed. It's awesome. You
get that like weighted blanket on each individual cell because you're under that pressure. That's kind of cool to have that.
Yeah.
I think I honestly, I don't know. It would be a hard one for me to choose.
Yeah. You've been doing cocoon a lot lately.
I've been doing a lot of cocoon. Just mostly healing up this scar. I got kneed in the face.
Jeez, I was just looking at that. That's gnarly.
Yeah, I got kneed in the face really hard. There's a pretty big scar, and then so I got it stitched up, but I had to compete like a week later.
Oh, jeez.
So I got it stitched up, but I was covering it with like this little pad thing, and then I was wearing a face mask leading up to the trials. And first 5 seconds of my first match, boom, headbutt right in the eye. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Was the adrenaline pumping at least?
And it started bleeding a little bit, and then they thought that it was cut above it, so I thought it was a separate cut. So I tried to burn my skin above it, and he's like, "It's gonna burn real bad." I'm like, "All right, here we go," because I've had things cauterized before, and it didn't burn at all. And I'm like, "It's not burning." And like, well, all right, let's go, get out there. So I was just like, go wrestle. Yeah. So I went and wrestled and got back, and they looked at it and like, oh, it looks good. But it was just like my skin was all like stained from like being cauterized, but there was nothing to cauterize because there was nothing open. Yeah. It didn't hurt. But my eye was just all black.
Yeah, it looked like I had black
put like
and blue.
Whatever what the football and baseball players wear.
Like the eye black.
Yeah. So I had it on this side. But like because of that, I was just getting in the cocoon like every day, and I should have really bought a snorkel so I could be under.
Yeah, I need one of those. I tried using a straw one day, and it just
oh my god,
it didn't
like
work.
a tiny little straw. You're like dying over there.
Yeah,
that'd be funny to see what your like pulse ox would be like if you tried to do that. So I like do this like breathing. It's called Auto Lab. I do Auto Lab, and you have to like measure your blood oxygen saturation. So you breathe into like this tube bag thing, and you can watch your blood saturation of oxygen go down, and once it hits like a certain number, you take a breath and then you go back to it. So like it kind of just trains your body to release oxygen to where it needs to go. And
okay,
there's a whole science behind it.
Is it kind of similar to the like the hypoxia you do and the oxygen breaks in the cocoon, or not the cocoon, the hyperbaric?
Yeah, so kind of it's all about like just gas exchange. Like how's your body use CO2 as not a marker, I forget the name of it. Anyway, but how does your body use CO2? How does it use oxygen as a signal? Yeah. So how do we use it as signaling? And anyway, so you could like measure your blood oxygen going down really low, and if you do it, it can get like really low. And if it gets too low, like if you breathe past the point where you're supposed to take a breath, like you could pass out. And then it just like falls off, and then you start breathing again. Don't do it at home, kids. And but it would be funny to like see, because when you breathe through a narrow straw, like you just don't get as much air into your lungs, But you're in the cocoon tub,
right? You're getting it through your skin.
It's not enough. I mean, you still obviously need to breathe, but it would be interesting to see what would happen, because they have different machines to tell like what is your tissue partial pressure of oxygen. So like they're able to see how much partial pressure of oxygen you have in a specific like skin tissue, like whatever that is.
Okay.
I forget the name of the actual unit, but it's different than what you would wear like on a pulse oximeter. So there are two different things. The pulse oximeter is like percentage of oxygen in your blood. The other one is like the amount of pressure of oxygen in your cell. So they can measure that in like millimeters of mercury, similar to how we would measure whether it be in the chamber or in the cocoon tub, how much partial pressure of oxygen is getting into your body.
Yeah.
So the water, I think, is like 600 milligrams of mercury or millimeters of mercury in the water. And we're supposed to be around like, I think 100 when we're born, is like we're close to that number. And as we age, there's a bell curve of how it goes down and how much pressure of oxygen you have in your cells. So what is like the standard bell curve essentially? And you can measure it on your own. And if you're like really low, it's like, oh, you have the partial pressure of oxygen in your cell of like 120-year-old. And you're like, that's not good.
Yeah.
You
gotta
know?
get that up.
And what does that mean? And again, it's just a tool. It's just a data point. It's just something that you can look into and try to figure out. But it's really cool. And getting in, we started as which one do you prefer? And I don't know that I could pick.
Yeah.
I love the hyperbaric for some things, and like if I have an eye that I can't wear a mask for and I want to get I wanted this to heal super fast, I'll get in the tub and put my face underwater. I'll like try to hold my breath and for 20-30 seconds come up and breathe for a minute and then go back under and kind of do that. But not everyone needs to do that. But this healed really well. I was using red light like 3 times a day, and then when I got headbutted, it just like opened up again. The stitches kind of got moved around. But I've just been like working the scar tissue and using the red light, getting in the cocoon, just get my face underwater.
Yeah.
Using the hyperbaric. So been using it a lot just for wound healing, And that's the big thing with the hyperbarics is just the wound healing. A lot of people get a lot of benefit from that.
Yeah, for sure.
Just because it just helps your body in every single way.
Yeah.
And your body's going to prioritize what it needs to prioritize. So like for you, it might prioritize, your muscles because you've been working out really hard. And for me, it might prioritize my, my liver because I've, been dehydrated, or kidneys because I've been dehydrated. So they just need more attention there. But our body knows what it needs, and everyone's just a little bit different. And that's what I think both of them are really cool, just to like give you that extra little boost up to be able to do it. And then we can combine things like combining the red light, the cold, and the hyperbaric. Like, what does that do? How can we incorporate all three into doing it? So, yeah, it's been a pretty cool adventure. Just adding things here and seeing, and really just like I'm kind of like a curator of like tools. Like, what tools are going to make us the healthiest we can possibly be? How can we get people down here? What do we need to change? What do we need to do?
What's next on your list? Like what's your dream modality at Vitality?
My God. I don't know that I have. I mean, we have a lot of them.
We do.
We have a lot of the ones that I would use that I think are pretty cool. I think one thing. So I've seen this recently is someone like built an entire room that was a hyperbaric chamber.
Oh, really?
So they have a room that can fit 5 people in there, and each one of them have their own oxygen concentrator.
Okay.
So that it can like feed their own oxygen into them while they're all sitting in that room. So you could have a business meeting in there. So they have like 4-person chambers. They have 2-person chambers. But we would have to like bring it down here and build it. Yeah. And it would never come out unless you like took a saw to it and took it out that way. Which I think that would be kind of cool. That would definitely be a kind of cool one. I mean, there's other things that you can do. I mean, there's if we had more space to put in like a gym that we could, actually put like some weights and some pulleys and
if I could go hit a cold plunge and then go to the gym because you're not supposed to go to the gym, whatever. If I could do that all in one place, it'd be lit.
There's I don't know, just from a space standpoint. I mean, we have the cycling room, and we've talked about, we even posted about hiring a Pilates instructor to have, because I think a lot of college students would enjoy like small group classes.
For sure.
They love the cycling. So cycling is just something that, a lot of people will come down and do. But if they also could add into their membership, like, okay, well, I also get a Pilates class. We also talked about yoga, but we want to like kind of make sure and pilot the Pilates first and see how that goes.
I think Pilates would be great.
We would just do floor Pilates. So, we have some of the stuff that is needed, but we won't have like, I forget the name of the machines. Leanne is
the reformers.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have one. We don't have space for those.
Yeah,
really.
those take up a lot of space.
Which is fine. But yeah, I think it's going to be really cool.
I'm excited.
I think that we could make it pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's just listening to your members, like what tools do you need for your wellness journey? Like what is something that you would need, and some people are like, hey, like I love coming down, but I drive 30 minutes to get here. I'm not going to drive 30 minutes back to take a shower and then 30 minutes back into work. Like it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Like if you have showers, that'd be great. I'd be here. I'm like, all right, let's put in some showers.
There you go.
And we had talked about it before. We were talking a couple nights ago, and Megan, my wife, she was just like, see, told you needed showers. Like, I told you need showers, you need this, and you didn't do that. And
yeah,
like,
I remember.
I'm changing it. I got you.
I remember when we first opened and we were doing a lot of tours. We had a lot of people ask, do you have showers? And we'd say no, and you could just see it on their face like, oh, shoot.
Yeah. And the reason we didn't was because we thought a lot of our clients were we just like looked, and we have a ton of our clients that are within like a 5-block radius of where we're at. So it's like, do we really need one?
Yeah.
And then we found like there was a much wider need for everything that we have here, and people are driving a long distance to get here. And it's like, hey, like if we could add this in, let's do it. So, yeah, we're gonna move some things around and add a couple showers in here for people, and
it's gonna be sweet.
It's gonna be sweet. Yeah.
I'll definitely utilize them for sure.
Being at 6:00, get your sauna cold plunge in, shower, get ready for editing, and
that's right.
Maybe get a cycle class.
Get going,
dude. You're gonna be down here. I mean, you're down here all the time anyway. You always come down. So
yeah, I feel like I'm always down
sometimes
here.
You gotta kick you out. Yeah.
Come on. Get on with your
day,
day,
dude. You gotta get out of here, man. This is too much. This is too much. But so what do you look like? What are you looking forward to in the next year, in the next 5 years? Like, what's your plan? Like, what's your goal? Because and I think this is important. For me too. Is like where do I see myself going? I have 4 kids, so it's like probably changing diapers and going to soccer practice and that sort of thing, which is fun. But also like professionally, like what do I want to do with the Vitality? What do I want to do with wrestling? Like there's just a lot of things going on, and I just think it's crucially important that you have your sights set on something. And I know you talked about your YouTube channel, and I think that's awesome. Like however we can help, like I have a pretty big following, and I know that there's a bunch of gearheads that like to, not gearheads, what are they called? Fashionistas. Yeah. I don't have fashionistas, that's for sure. But people who like fashion. But like, so what is something that you're like, like, hey, dude, I want to go climb Mount Everest in the next 5 years. I want to go complete 100, like Leanne, I want to go run 100 miles and do the ultras. I want to go skiing down somewhere in Peru. I don't know, because life shouldn't just be about work either. Like it's like, hey, I want to take my kids on a road trip, around the U.S. and that's something I'm going for. It's like, oh, sweet, awesome. How are you gonna get there? It's just fun to hear people's process. That's why I asked.
Yeah, I think like career-wise, definitely just I am dedicating like the next 2 years to just put all that I can into YouTube and like content creation and see how that goes. But as far as like my health and wellness, I ran a half marathon.
Oh, you did?
Last fall.
Was that Pittsburgh or Philly?
Philly.
Nice. Yeah.
I ran a half marathon, and can I curse?
No.
Okay.
And it was not fun. It was fun.
No, the half marathon.
Yeah.
It was a blast, but there was when I was running, there was a sign that said "Wait a half a marathon," and ever since I saw that sign, I was like, I need to run a marathon. So
you could have said that. That's funny.
Okay.
That's really funny. So now you have to run a marathon.
Yeah, now I have to run a marathon.
Yeah.
So
have you been training?
Yeah,
Nice.
I mean, I run probably 3-4 times a week.
Oh, nice.
I don't do more than like 3-4 miles a time, but definitely want to do that. Just kind of continue staying healthy and getting in here and just being as fit as possible. I want to live till I'm 120. So.
120. Yeah. That's a good age to shoot for. Yeah, I think when I think of my health, I'm like, man, how can what am I missing? Like, cause I don't know everything. There's no way I could. And I'm always trying to gather information and like what is the best. And sometimes I really focus on my physical health, sometimes really on my mental health, spiritual health, emotional health. Like where am I? Where do I see myself going?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, okay, I got my physical health down. Now let's move on to the next thing. Now let's move on to the next thing. And like I try to compartmentalize it all. And recently I'm like, dude, you can't.
Yeah.
It's all integrated.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good to like take a close look, at your physical, or take a close look at your emotional, and like how do they integrate with one another? How does what comes first? The chicken or the egg? And like if your physical structure is all out of whack, like you're gonna have a really hard time because your body is just secreting stress hormones all the time.
Yep.
But if you can hold yourself, like if your body is like healthy. If your body is aligned, if your muscles are operating in the proper ratios, they aren't too flexible, they aren't too tight, and they're communicating with one another. The buzzword now is like fascia, like everyone's talking about fascia and like how important that is, and doing fascial release and integrating different things, and it's cool to see that the world is going that way.
Yeah.
Because it is important. It does make a big difference. And how do you hydrate your fascia? How do you hydrate your cells? How do you do all of that stuff? And it's like, okay, there's a larger approach about this, and like we need to figure that out. And a lot of it is just going to be testing it on yourself. Like, okay, when I did this, there was one time I did this one specific exercise, and it was like a leg exercise. But as I was doing it, I was like moving my head back, and I was like moving my jaw forward or something like that. And it was very, very specific, very nuanced. And I hit it, and then I could feel like my eyeballs being pulled. It was weird.
Really?
Like I felt like my eyeballs were like being tugged in a certain direction. And I look up, and I look maybe 150 yards out. And I mean, you can't really see much of anything at that. Like you can see things, but I felt like I could see like the perfect shape of the leaves, like all of these leaves on the street. I'm like, what is going on?
Really?
So I like walked around a little bit. I'm like, maybe it was just like me imagining things. And I looked back at the tree, and I'm like, wow, I can still see it. And then I went and did a different exercise, and I don't know if I pulled myself out of like that thing, because our fascia is connected everywhere. And I went and looked at the tree again, and I could just see like the outline of the big tree. Dang it. So I went back and did that same exercise, and I did it again. I could see it again. I'm like, wow, this is awesome. And it was just like, it was like that little moment that I was like, man, everything is connected.
Yeah.
Everything.
Sean from, I think it's Phase 1 or
Square One.
Square One. Yeah. He came down here and he did a lot of the work that he was doing with one of our clients, and it was crazy. Like you move one body part, and it releases one, and you're able to just
because he does like testing, neurological testing.
Yeah,
he'll figure that stuff out.
Do you think that was kind of something?
Could be, because I mean, your nervous system is just gonna like tell you like, are you in danger? Are you not in danger? So like if your body perceives it as a dangerous movement or a dangerous position, it's gonna like basically shut you down so you don't go there. And if you can hold a certain position and your body is like okay with it, then you can move on to the next one. But if it's not okay with it, you're gonna avoid that. And a part of that too is just like how do your muscles communicate with one another from a fascial standpoint or from like a muscle chain standpoint. So like, how does my foot integrate with my shoulder? How does my pelvis integrate with my ribs, integrate with my palate? Like, what are those things that are going on? What are the different pressures that I'm creating? What are the different tensions I'm creating? What are the forces that are happening? There's so many little things that you need to like look at to see. But the nervous system is like kind of controlling all of that. And you might be able to move great, but if there is like some sort of like antagonist that's like hurting your nervous system or causing your nervous system to kind of like tweak out, if you don't fix that, then you're going to have a hard time. And sometimes it gets fixed with rest and recovery and certain modalities. Other times you need to really dig deep and find what that root cause is to pull it out. And that's what Sean in Square One I've seen him do it with my daughter, who was having a hard time nursing. She was 4 weeks old. And she was still struggling because she like couldn't move her head to the right. We did some other like manipulative work with craniosacral therapy, with chiropractic adjustment. and like making little changes. And then when he worked on her, he was able to work on her through my wife, and she started turning her head the other way.
Really?
Yeah. And then her nursing problems like basically went away. Now she was learning. She's so young too. Like anytime you have kids, if you ever end up having kids, you'll notice like the changes that happen so quickly. And, really? But any parent that has had a kid with, whether it be colic or stomach issues or anything that just like you cannot help, it's like the most frustrating thing ever.
I'm sure.
Because you're like, what do I do?
Yeah.
How can I help you?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's their nervous system. Sometimes it's their digestion. Sometimes it's like their hips are out of alignment and their head is the wrong way, or they just came out of the birth canal too slow or too fast or whatever. There's so many different variables. And again, it's just like, how do you find the right tools to bring those people in?
Yeah.
So, Sean is great. I mean, my time with functional patterns, I mean, they helped me a ton. And that was what I was doing I was doing a functional patterns movement. And it was just like, how do these things integrate? How is everything connected? And it was just like by happenstance that I noticed my eyes were changing.
That is crazy.
Man, this is nuts.
I got to try this position.
I could try to explain it, but it's so intricate. Like it was like so dialed in. Like it was just, and I had like, there was like 4 people around who were like, and the main guy who was coaching me, and he was just like, hey, do this small change. Yep. Right there. And he could just see it. He has like this, the way I see wrestling moves is the way he sees the human movement.
Yeah. Just those
the way I can think about
things.
10 moves ahead, he's doing the same thing with the body. And like, it was just like these small little things. And, I don't think I actually have tried it since then. I should probably try it again.
Yeah.
See if I can
another
remember.
shot.
I think I have video of it too. Of the exercise. I'm like, man, I need to record this and figure this out. But it's so evolving and changing, and you're always just trying to not find the next best thing, but understand how to integrate the things that into your system in a balanced way. Because as humans, like we're constantly moving, so we're constantly oscillating left and right, up and down, twisting side to side, and some people always say, "Oh, you just want to find balance," and like sometimes when I think of balance, I think of just like static, like don't move. Like I can balance a rock on top. Have you seen those stackers?
Yeah.
Those are cool.
We got one out in the.
Oh, so cool.
Going out in the sauna room.
Yeah, just stacking the rocks like perfectly so they don't like move. And it's like, well, that's balance, but that's not life. Like life is movement. Life is like you're constantly swaying and moving and going. So, so, the functional patterns guys have helped a ton. Sean's helped me, a ton. Another guy that I work with, his name's Rua. He's been helping me a lot with like my breathing and my ribs and just like, how does everything, like, what are the other connections that I'm missing? So it's like me trying to find a bunch of different people who are, who have seen a lot of success in what they've done. And also like, how can I integrate this into me? And how does this help me improve my own craft? Yeah. I get made fun of a lot for saying like, I get younger every day. But I'm really trying.
Oh yeah.
I'm really trying. And, they've measured, there's different measurements that you can see if you're like, what is your biological age, whatever that means. And a lot of it is, how do you like, what are the things that you're doing to get there? Because when I was in college, I was just an absolute knucklehead. I already said that, but I was an absolute knucklehead. And, now that I'm like eating properly and getting the nutrients I need and taking care of my body, my sleep cycle, everything, my movement, I really do feel like I'm younger than I have ever been. So it's not me lying. I'm actually telling the truth where I do feel younger.
Yeah, you almost gotta see the dark in order to see the light.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool. Dude, tell me about Big Lou. He is a monster.
He is a big Lou.
Dude,
for
Big
sure.
Lou is like he's pushing. He's pushing, and he's not as big as Saran.
No,
Saran's a unit, but I'm looking at this guy every day, and I'm like, dude, what's going on? He's just like eating nonstop,
constantly eating. Yeah. He's always in the kitchen. He's got these mass gainer, super mass shakes that he makes, and he's pouring heavy whipping cream. He's got this powder, and it's just like literal concrete when you eat it, when you drink it.
Yeah.
But yeah. He's just trying to get big right now, trying to bulk up the heavyweight. Yeah. we used to wrestle all the time, and I used to beat up on him when we were kids, and now it's not even fun to wrestle him because I'm gonna get hurt.
We need to start training me and you. I'll start training you so you can take him on like in secret.
Okay.
So I don't know, maybe we're in the like Ninja Turtles it or something, so that you can take him out. Mm-hmm. That would be so funny.
That would be funny.
All right, Lou, let's go one takedown for all the marbles, and then you just like hit him with a nasty super duck or something. Oh my gosh, that would be so funny.
That would be funny.
Oh, that would be great. All right, well, thanks for coming on, brother.
Yeah,
I appreciate
you for having me.
We'll do it again, and yeah, let me know if you need any help with anything. I'm glad to help, and if there's, we can put in the show notes too, like your YouTube and everything. So we'll pop that out there.
Appreciate that.
All right, we'll catch you later.
Thank you.
Thanks,